This is Bodala. You may be thinking, oh, what? It says Bodala La. What is going on? No. See, Bodala La is my internet username, because some jerk off took my name. Bodala is my Xbox name. That's Bodalla. Bodala La is a name I use on like GameSpot and YouTube. So that's that. I'm gonna start doing something I wanted to do for a long time. I play video games like crazy, so I want to start to tell you little spoiler alerts about video games. Uh, and yeah, so I'm starting today with a classic. It's a game that came out a long time ago. It's Gears of War. This is definitely a very good buy. I would definitely buy it if you hadn't bought it or played it yet. Uh, it's a really good play. It's a great shooter. It's a great quality game. It has amazing graphics, and it's a ton of fun. Uh, Here's the thing. This game is a game that might not make so much sense. Though you have a great shooter, you have a chainsaw attached to your gun, you can shoot like crazy. Um, Here's essentially the storyline. Uh, okay, so it starts out with you're in a prison, and it's just you, and you're this big burly mofo, Marcus Phoenix. This guy, this huge guy with like the biceps that could crush someone's skull in his arms. You know, it's like friggin' if he turned into the Hulk, he would just like turn green. He'd just be like, just be crazy. Like if he could grow any larger than he is, because he's humongous. So this really rugged, burly guy, and he's stuck in prison. Okay, and he's just doing his thing. He's doing push-ups, pull-ups, whatever you do in prison, and he's in there because of criminal war activity. Because he was in a war and he did something against whatever. You don't learn until the next couple of games. Um, but here's the thing. He gets busted out by a guy named Dominic Santiago. Dominic Santiago comes in with a giant rifle with a chainsaw bayonet attachment. That thing, the Lancer. He comes in with one of those, and he breaks Marcus out of prison. Now, when he breaks him out, what you see is very unexpected. You see a desolate land with no other prisoners, no guards, no nothing. But for some odd reason, Marcus Phoenix was there. Trapped in prison. You'd think he would realize, oh, maybe they're just fucking around with me because they haven't been here in what, like 3 months? But no. Because apparently either these guys are bad at their job and they just leave and take all the other prisoners with them, except Marcus, or they just never been there in the first place. I don't know why he's there. It's kind of weird. But the weirdest thing is that there are enemies like swarming around. Like the first thing he says is like, "Oh, maybe there are gonna be enemies coming. Oh, what should we do?" It's like, "Oh, suit up! I got a gun." And it's like, "Okay, let's shoot the shit out of things that appeared out of nowhere." There have been enemies here, and if you inspect any of the latrines in the prison, you would know. Because they're just like mangled torsos, just like hanging. It's like they saw the enemies and they just lost it. It was just like, what is there? Just like everything, like their intestines, their like freaking organs, just like splattered all over the like I never thought I'd truly seen a destroyed toilet until I saw this game, because it is like was just like blood and feces splattered on the walls. This like ridiculous, and their legs are just like mangled somewhere or another. It's like, what happened? What? How did this happen to them? But then Marcus Phoenix is just kind of chilling. He's like completely ripped, like none of his muscles have degraded. Like, what has he done? But anyway, so you get busted out of prison and you get put to the war again. The war is with these things called the Locusts. Now, the Locusts are essentially these very weird albino-looking rhinoceroses. Like these really weird creatures. They look kind of human, but not really at all. They're like if you took a human, covered him in chalk, and like carved weird lines into his face, and then made him ugly. Like that's what a locust is. Um, and apparently they've been living underground for years. Like, no one's ever found them. Like, no kid digging to China was like, oh god, what's that thing? And the little other kids like, oh my god, what's that thing? And it's like a big war. Like, oh, we had no idea. No, it's like they didn't even know. Like, there are these things just living underground, like feeding off of all this crap underground on their surface, and they had no idea, except the government knew for some odd reason. They were just like, slipped my mind. What is? I didn't remember those things. That was in the 60s. No, it's like, these things are the things they're at war with. And here's what they're at war with over. It's this weird, glowing, splooge-like liquid. And you go underground in the game and you see it. It's like covering the walls. It's really gross. Just like dripping and squirming all over the place. It's like all glowy and nasty. And it's like, dear God, what have they been doing in there? But apparently it's worth a lot of money. You know, like, apparently it's the most important substance on the earth. So, it's called emulsion. If I didn't say that already. That's emulsion. I don't know what it is, but it's weird, sploosh looking, and glowy. So, you got that. Now, the Locusts, the way they go about waging war is really kind of just stupid. They decide, hey, let's try the old let's explode a hole in the ground tactic, and, like, people just get splayed out, like, like, if you could imagine if somebody just, like, burrowed underground, just blew out the floor below you, just, like, it'd be ridiculously surprising, but it's like, they live underground and they're just blowing up the surface. Like, that's gonna do anything good? Like, your solution in the end is literally to just blow stuff up on the surface or within there so that it collapses in on itself. Like, you would think that they would think, oh, well, maybe we shouldn't do this, but no. They're just like, yeah, let's blow holes in the surface. Just like, nothing happens to them. It's ridiculous. And in the meantime, you're in there, like, blowing crap up. You got grenades, like, assault rifles, and you're shooting walls out, and you're fucking, like, tearing the landscape apart. And there's these giant things called boomers, and they hold giant rocket launchers, and they're like, boom! And it's just like, those things could liquefy a human being, but they can't shatter, like, a pebble, because that's apparently against the laws of physics. But, again, great game. You should definitely get it. A lot of good games don't make sense. It's an amazing game. You'll get caught up in the storyline despite how much it doesn't really make sense, and I'm sure you'll love it. This is Bodala signing out on Gears of War.